seems like these days everyone's got to be the loudest voice in the room.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about men's roles and all that.
It's true. There's definitely a lot of noise out there.
So it's kind of refreshing to dive into a book that takes a totally different approach.
Yeah, definitely.
We're talking about The Power of Fewer Words by Conrad Riker.
Interesting title.
Right. The whole idea is that talking less can actually make you, well, more attractive, more confident, wiser.
I mean, it goes against what we're usually told, right? Like, the more you talk, the smarter you seem.
For sure. But this book, it really makes you think.
I'm curious to hear more.
So for our listeners out there, today we're not just going to talk about how to talk less. We're going to explore the why. Why is silence so powerful?
Especially for men.
Especially for men, right?
Yeah.
Navigating today's world, it's complicated.
The book digs into all sorts of fascinating stuff. The psychology of silence, the historical figures who used it to their advantage, even some practical techniques we can all use.
Cool. Okay, so let's jump right in. The book makes this pretty bold claim. Women are actually more attracted to quiet men.
I can see how some guys might get the wrong idea with that.
Yeah, it's not about just shutting down completely, right?
Not at all. It's more about the confidence that comes from choosing your words carefully, not feeling like you have to fill every silence.
Like those classic movie heroes, the strong, silent types.
Yeah.
The cowboys, the stoic superheroes. They don't say a lot, but when they do, everyone listens.
It's like they command respect without even trying. There's a certain mystery and intelligence that comes with silence.
Totally. And, historically, there are tons of examples of powerful men who understood this.
Oh, absolutely.
Winston Churchill, for example.
He had that famous quote, something like, "Short words are best and the fewer the better."
Exactly. And there's Albert Einstein, the guy who basically unlocked the secrets of the universe.
And he preferred to work in silence, believed it was crucial for thinking deeply, creatively.
Right. And Steve Jobs, another guy who kind of changed the world. Notoriously private, didn't say much.
All these guys, they weren't quiet because they were weak or anything. They were silent because they knew real power doesn't come from just talking all the time. It comes from knowing when to speak and when to just be.
Yeah. It's like they understood that sometimes the most powerful statement you could make is to say nothing at all.
Yeah.
So this brings up a question. Why is silence so effective? Like, psychologically, what's going on there?
Well, the book argues that silence gives you space to think, to reflect, which helps you develop emotional intelligence.
Ah, okay. And we all know how important that is in relationships and just life in general.
Absolutely. Being able to understand your own emotions and other people's. Silence helps with that. And when you speak less, you tend to make your words count more.
Right. So it's not just about being quiet. It's about being more self-aware, more in control.
Exactly. And that projects confidence, which can be really attractive.
So we've got this idea that silence is powerful, but how do we actually use it? I mean, let's face it, the world is pretty noisy these days.
Yeah, it's tough to find a quiet moment sometimes. But the book has some practical techniques for incorporating silence into your communication, even with all the distractions.
Okay, I'm all ears.
One technique is called the tactical break.
Tactical break. Sounds intense.
It's kind of like a secret weapon for conversation. Basically, you strategically pause during a conversation.
Okay. So when would you use that?
Well, you can use it to create tension, to kind of assert dominance, or even just to let your words really sink in. It's about taking control of the flow of the conversation.
I can see how that could be powerful.
Like, imagine you're in a negotiation, the other person throws out an offer that's way too low. Instead of immediately countering, you just pause. Maybe you lean back in your chair, let the silence hang there for a second.
Ooh, yeah. That would definitely make them sweat a little.
Right, it makes them think, okay, what's he thinking? What's he going to say next? It shifts the power dynamic.
Interesting. So it's like a silent power move. And you can use this in everyday conversations too, right?
Absolutely. Like if someone's constantly interrupting you, you can pause, make eye contact, and then just keep talking.
It's a way of saying, hey, I'm speaking here, but without actually having to say it.
Right. It's assertive, but in a subtle way.
Okay, so tactical break is all about strategic pausing. What about those times when we're the ones who can't seem to shut up?
Well, the book has a solution for that too. It's called the 3-second rule.
3 seconds, huh?
Yep. The idea is to catch yourself when you're rambling. When you're just filling the space with words, but not really saying anything important.
Oh, I know I do that sometimes. Get caught up in a story and just keep going and going.
It happens to all of us. But the 3-second rule helps you become more mindful. Whenever you feel that urge to keep talking, just pause for 3 seconds. Ask yourself, does what I'm about to say actually add value to this conversation?
It's like a little mental check-in. Make sure you're speaking with intention.
Exactly. Quality over quantity.
I like it. So we've got the tactical break for pausing and the 3-second rule for speaking mindfully. What other techniques does the book offer?
Well, another big one is active listening. It's not just about hearing what the other person's saying, It's about really understanding their perspective, their emotions, what's driving them.
So you're not just waiting for your turn to talk. You're actually trying to see the world through their eyes, even if you don't agree with them.
Right. And you show them you're listening, Asking clarifying questions, reflecting back what you've heard, being genuinely interested.
Makes sense. I could see how that, combined with using silence strategically, could really change how we communicate.
But what about all the noise in the world these days? It's hard to find quiet time.
True, it's a challenge. But the book has some ideas for how to work silence into your day, even with all the chaos. One is digital minimalism.
Digital minimalism, I've heard that term. What's it mean here?
Basically, cutting down on the digital noise you're exposed to. Limiting social media, turning off notifications, setting boundaries around your screen time, so you can reclaim some mental space. Less stress, less anxiety.
Exactly. And more time for, deeper, more meaningful conversations.
Yeah, the kind we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Where you're not constantly getting interrupted by, like, your phone buzzing or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that. So digital minimalism is one way to cultivate more silence. What else?
The book also talks about seeking out physical silence. Spaces where you can disconnect from the digital world and reconnect with yourself.
Ah, I get it. Spending time in nature. Meditating. Even just finding a few minutes to sit in silence and think.
Right. It's about creating those pockets of stillness, letting your mind decompress.
Almost like a form of self-care.
It is. The book makes the point that incorporating silence isn't just about better communication. It's about taking care of yourself mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Got to fill yourself up first.
Exactly. That's a great analogy. And the book really stresses that. It's not just about talking less. It's about using silence to become a better man. More complete, more confident, more attractive.
So it's about more than just communication. It's about personal growth. Embracing the power of silence. Not just in our words, but in our lives. Pretty radical stuff. What do you think?
I'm definitely starting to see silence in a new light. Not as an absence of something, but as a force you can use to your advantage.
Yeah, this silence has been there all along, just waiting for us to rediscover its power.
Yeah.
Now that we're paying attention, I think it could change everything. How we talk to each other, how we live our lives.
Totally. There's another part of the book I found fascinating. It's about historical figures who were masters of silence.
Oh, yeah. They use silence to achieve some pretty incredible things. Let's dive into that. What can we learn from these guys?
Good idea. Let's see what the power of fewer words has to say about that.
We've talked a lot about the good stuff, the power of silence, But it's important to remember that silence isn't always a good thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like any tool, it can be misused. It's not some magic solution.
Right. The book actually talks about this, the potential downsides. It's not just saying, talk less no matter what.
Yeah, there are definitely times when silence is not the answer. In some cultures, for example, being silent can be seen as disrespectful.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Or sometimes it can come across as weak, like you're afraid to stand up for yourself.
Exactly. And then there are those times when it's just plain awkward. When you're with someone and the conversation just dies and you're both just sitting there in silence.
Ugh, the worst. But the book goes even deeper than that. It talks about the silent treatment, using silence as a weapon in relationships.
That's a whole other level. It's passive aggressive and it can really hurt people.
Yeah, it creates these walls between people. Walls of silence that can be tough to break down.
It's a reminder that silence can be just as damaging as words. Maybe even more so.
So it's all about intention, right? Are you using silence to create space for understanding?
Yeah.
Or are you using it to manipulate someone?
Exactly. We need to be aware of that, especially when we're feeling emotional. It's easy to let things get out of hand.
It's like anything else. Silence can be good or bad, depending on how you use it. The key is to be mindful, to use it ethically. I think the book makes that clear.
It does, and ultimately it encourages us to use silence for positive change, for better relationships, better communication, becoming more confident, wiser.
So it's not just about talking less, it's about being thoughtful, intentional.
Right, knowing when to speak, when to listen, when to assert yourself, when to hold back. It's about reading the situation.
This has been a really insightful deep dive. I feel like I've learned a lot about the power of silence. The good, the bad, the practical, the philosophical. What are your final thoughts?
I'm definitely walking away with a new understanding of silence. It's a lot more complex than I thought. It's about being present, intentional, understanding yourself and others.
Totally agree. And for anyone listening who wants to explore this more, I highly recommend checking out The Power of Fewer Words by Conrad Riker. It's on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
It's a really thought-provoking book. Might just change the way you communicate and live your life.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the power of silence. Until next time, remember, sometimes the most powerful statements are made without saying a word.